How we doing today, Gotcha Gang? It's Kawaii50 here with another Genshin Impact video. And gang, Genshin Impact is a lot more complicated than a lot of people want to give it credit for. And while the tutorials do explain a lot of things, there are still some things that these tutorials do not adequately explain to us. But don't worry, gang, I am here to help. Here are some tips that you really need to know about Genshin Impact that the tutorial either glosses over or you probably just ignored entirely. Let's be real, you wanted to explore the world. Let's go ahead and take a peek. Gang, I'm going to kick this video off with something a lot of people have actually personally asked me, and something a lot of people personally didn't know until I told them about it. Did you know your character is a primary stat? Maybe not, but they do. We're going to use Barbara as an example. If you go ahead and look in Barbara's talents, you can see, let the show begin. The amount of HP that is healed completely scales off Barbara's max HP. Shining Miracle, the HP that is healed off of that, scales off of Barbara's max HP. And gang, this is not just the case with Barbara. Let's take a look at a character, for example, that doesn't have it correctly spelled out for them, and that is Keqing. If you look at Keqing, she does not have any specific ability completely lined out in any of her skills, but you're going to see electro damage thrown around a lot, which means, of course, you want her to focus into her elemental effectiveness, as well as her overall electro damage, if at all possible, to maximize her overall damage. Every single character in the game has something that they are completely focused on that is going to make them far, far stronger than if you just go ahead and put stats around piecemeal. Now, you may want to do that for some characters in order to up their overall stats. More stats, higher stats are better stats, but gang, you're gonna want to pick one stat that is your primary focus, and that is shown in the talents for every character. Now, speaking of stats, gang, I wanted to again use that to segue into artifacts. And gang, it is completely okay to not equip a full artifact set bonus. For starters, you got 5 slots, so one of those artifact slots is not gonna play into your set bonus more likely than not. But on top of that, maybe you don't want the full set bonus. Maybe based on the stats that we were looking to get before, not having the set bonus is the better thing for you. I mean, look at Barbara. Yes, we got Traveling Doctor set up on her to increase her incoming healing. That's great. Using Elemental Burst to restore HP might be nice, but remember, we just talked about how her healing scales off her HP. So giving her the Adventurer set to give her another 1000 HP on top of that, well gang, that is going to have the added effect of increasing her overall healing. Really funny how that works. Now, of course, with your secondary stats and all that, you might want to reroll if you're going into absolute min-maxing endgame to get the secondary stats that benefit your characters most. But for most of the people playing this game, I imagine the set bonus is going to be enough, and your set bonus, you're going to want to tailor to every single character. Getting those 2-piece sets can be better than the 4s some of the time. Gang, the third tip I wanted to talk about is using your noodle to get around the world. Yeah, there's a lot of ways that we have been shown through puzzles to get around the world, to activate certain puzzles and things like that, but there are so many different ways you can get around the world that is going to make exploring the world of Teyvat just a lot easier for you. And I could tell you all of the different ways, but why don't I just show you an example?
Swift and merciful. Spirit Flame, attack!
Yeah, as you can see there, swimming was absolutely for chumps in that instance. Now, that's just one small example. There are plenty of other ways you can get around the world of Teyvat, and using your character's elemental resistances and elemental abilities is going to be the way for you to figure that out. Use your abilities in weird places. Experiment. Have fun. That is part of what Genshin Impact is all about. This next tip's going to save you a lot of headache, but you honestly only want to focus on a couple characters at a time. Now gang, leveling up in Genshin Impact starts off super easy with the books, but ends up getting very expensive when you start getting into the realms of ascension materials, the realms of weapons that you need to also enhance and ascend, and plus you're not going to be swimming in artifacts all the time, and you're going to need some of those artifacts to upgrade your other artifacts. So keeping a nice little stable party of characters that you know you can reliably use is going to make you feel better in the long run. I'd recommend at least one of each element, and on top of that, I would also recommend you have at least one greatsword user for mining ore, and one bow user for sniping pesky enemies, as well as solving puzzle dungeons. Trust me, you are going to be thankful when you have that bow user in some of these later dungeons. And for my final tip, gang, I promise you your life will be better if you don't sweat having to pull on every banner. Genshin Impact, more so than any other gacha game I've ever played in my life, you do not need to pull high rarity characters in order to be good and do all of the content. A lot of it really comes down to your own general elemental mastery, how you are able to utilize your characters and build your team to maximize effectiveness. I know Venti here is very, very tempting, and you want him. I know a lot of people really want to waifu John. I know a really lot of people are super thirsty for D-Luke, but gang, you don't need those characters. If you've got a decent stable, if you are set to go with your 4-star team, don't sweat it. If you really like the character, yeah, go ahead and pull on them, but you do not need every single 5-star that comes out. You don't even need every single 5-star weapon that comes out. Genshin Impact is not that kind of game. And gang, that is really all I've got for you when it comes to these little tips for Genshin Impact. I think these are some of the most useful tips new players and maybe even some veterans alike can know, and your overall enjoyment of the game is going to be increased, I promise, just by following these little bits of info. If this video helped you, be sure to go ahead and leave the like and subscribe to the channel for some more Genshin Impact content. Gang, I love this game. This game is so much fun. All of my friends love this game when we're playing it together. I foresee myself doing some Genshin Impact content for a very, very long time to come. Anyways, this is Kawaii50. I hope you all had a phenomenal day, and I'll see y'all in the next video.